Welcome to Pawprints Forever, where we embark on an incredible journey through the eyes of a young girl named Mia, who discovers her passion for wildlife conservation in Southern California. When Mia encounters a lost bobcat cub named Leo, her life takes an unexpected turn, leading her to advocate for animals in need and protect their natural habitats. Join us as we dive into Mia's adventures filled with heartwarming rescues, community action, and the fight against poaching. Don't forget to subscribe to the Pawprints Forever channel, like this video, and share it with your friends. Let us know in the comments where you're watching from. We love hearing from our global community. Now, let's begin our story. In the quiet, sun-drenched valleys of Southern California, nature thrived in a delicate balance. The rolling hills were alive with the sounds of chirping birds and the rustling of leaves, but one sound was missing: a mother's call. Deep within the dense underbrush, a soft, heart-wrenching cry echoed. It belonged to a bobcat cub, no more than a few weeks old, who had lost its way. The cub, named Leo, was a tiny ball of fur with bright, curious eyes. He had been frolicking with his siblings in the safety of their hidden den when a sudden rustle in the bushes startled them. His mother, a vigilant protector, had instinctively rushed to guide her young ones to safety. In the chaos, Leo had stumbled away, following a fluttering butterfly that danced just beyond his reach. As the sun dipped lower in the sky, casting golden rays through the trees, Leo's playful spirit turned to confusion. The world around him, once vibrant and full of adventure, now felt vast and intimidating. He mewed softly, a sound that barely traveled beyond the thicket. His tiny heart raced as he realized he was alone. Panic set in, and with it the instinct to find his mother. Leo took a few hesitant steps, his little paws finding purchase on the cool earth. He looked around, trying to catch a glimpse of the familiar striped coat of his mother, but all he saw were shadows. Desperation clawed at his chest, and he cried out again, the sound echoing through the trees, a plea that hung in the air. Unbeknownst to Leo, a young girl named Mia was wandering through the same woods that day. At just 12 years old, she was an animal lover with an adventurous spirit. The daughter of a park ranger, she often roamed the trails, exploring the beauty of nature and the wildlife that inhabited it. As she walked, she spotted a flash of movement in the underbrush. Curiosity piqued. She crept closer. Mia paused when she heard the soft cries. Her heart swelled with concern. What could that be? She whispered to herself. She followed the sound, pushing through the thick foliage until she stumbled upon the source of the cries. A tiny bobcat cub, trembling and alone. "Oh, you poor thing," she exclaimed, kneeling down to get a better look at the frightened creature. Leo, sensing her presence, stopped crying and stared wide-eyed at the girl, his instincts warring between fear and curiosity. Mia's gentle demeanor and soothing voice calmed him, and he slowly approached her, though his little body trembled with uncertainty. Mia extended her hand, palm up, showing she meant no harm. "I won't hurt you, I promise." She watched as Leo cautiously sniffed her fingers, his nose twitching with curiosity. She could see the loneliness in his eyes, the longing for his mother. "Where is your mom, little one?" she murmured, her heart aching for the lost cub. After a moment of hesitation, Leo took a brave step forward, nuzzling his head against her hand. Mia felt an overwhelming surge of compassion. She knew that if she didn't help him find his mother, he might not survive on his own. With the sun setting and the air growing cooler, she made a quick decision. "I'll help you," she said, determination swelling within her. "But we need to hurry." Mia stood up, glancing around the dense woods, her mind racing with thoughts. How could she find Leo's mother? The vast forest could easily swallow them whole, and time was of the essence. With newfound resolve, she gently scooped Leo into her arms. He was light and warm against her chest, and for a moment she felt a bond form between them. Together they ventured deeper into the woods, Mia calling out, "Mama Bobcat, where are you?" As they moved through the forest, Mia kept her senses sharp. She noticed the signs of wildlife around them, paw prints in the mud, the faint scent of fur in the air. But with each passing moment, her concern grew. Where could Leo's mother be? They walked for what felt like hours, with Mia periodically stopping to listen for any sounds of the mother bobcat. The woods were still, save for the occasional rustle of leaves or distant bird call. Leo snuggled closer to her, his small body seeking comfort in her warmth. But as the shadows deepened, Mia's heart sank. She had no idea where they were or how to find their way back. "Don't worry, Leo," she whispered, stroking his soft fur. "We'll find her. I promise." Just then, a rustling in the bushes caught her attention. Mia froze, holding her breath as she turned to see what it was. Her heart raced. Could it be Leo's mother? She hoped against hope as the sound grew closer. Out from the thicket came a large doe, her ears perked and alert. The doe looked at Mia with wide eyes, sensing the tension in the air. Mia let out a breath she didn't know she was holding, feeling both relief and disappointment. The doe was beautiful, but not the answer they needed. "Okay, let's keep looking," Mia said, trying to maintain her spirits. She continued walking, listening closely for any sign of Leo's mother. As they moved, Leo began to make soft sounds again, a mix of whines and mews, as if he too was calling for his mother. The night air grew cooler, and Mia knew they couldn't stay out long. They needed a plan. "What if we make a noise?" she suggested to Leo, speaking out loud as if he could understand her. "Maybe she'll hear us." With determination, Mia began to call out, her voice echoing through the trees. "Mama Bobcat, we need your help. Leo's lost." She repeated the call several times, her voice ringing out into the darkness. The woods remained silent, but she refused to give up. Finally, after what felt like an eternity of searching, she decided to take a break. They found a small clearing, where the moonlight filtered through the branches, creating a magical glow. She sat down on a fallen log, still holding Leo close. "We'll rest for just a bit, Leo. I'm sure your mum will come looking for you soon." As Mia sat there, she began to feel a sense of connection with the little cub. He snuggled into her arms, and she could sense his trust in her. In that moment, she made a silent vow to protect him until they could reunite him with his mother. But little did Mia know, the night was just beginning, and the journey ahead would test her courage like never before. As the moon hung high in the sky, casting a silvery glow over the forest, Mia felt a mix of worry and determination. She had taken on the responsibility of caring for Leo, a tiny creature so helpless and lost. The sounds of the night enveloped them. Crickets chirped, owls hooted, and the wind whispered through the trees, but the most profound sound was the rhythmic heartbeat of the bobcat cub nestled in her arms. Mia knew they needed a plan. With no sign of Leo's mother yet, she decided to make a makeshift shelter in the clearing, using fallen branches and leaves to create a small barrier around them. It wasn't much, but it provided some semblance of security. "Stay close, Leo," she murmured, placing him down on the soft bed of leaves she had arranged. He looked up at her with wide, trusting eyes, his tiny body still trembling. She could see the fear lingering in his gaze, and it tugged at her heart. "We'll be okay. I won't let anything happen to you." As she settled down beside him, she felt the cool night air wrapping around them. She pulled her jacket tighter around her, trying to shield them both from the chill. Leo, sensing her warmth, crawled closer, seeking comfort. Mia smiled softly at the bobcat cub. Despite the circumstances, there was something heartwarming about their bond forming in the moonlit forest. Hours passed, and the sounds of the forest shifted. The night deepened, and Mia's eyelids grew heavy. She fought to stay awake, knowing that Leo needed her vigilance, but fatigue crept in like a thief in the night. Just as she felt herself drifting off, a sudden rustle in the bushes jolted her awake. Mia's heart raced as she sat up, eyes wide, scanning the darkness around them. Leo perked up too, his ears twitching as he listened. What was was that?" she whispered, feeling a mixture of fear and hope. Could it be Leo's mother? As if answering her question, the rustling grew louder, and out stepped a large figure. Mia's breath caught in her throat as she recognized the unmistakable silhouette of a bobcat. Her heart leaped with excitement and fear all at once. Was this Leo's mother or another bobcat? The adult bobcat paused, its eyes glinting in the moonlight as it surveyed the area. Mia held her breath, not wanting to startle the creature. She could see the muscles rippling beneath its fur, the strength and grace of a wild animal, but as the bobcat moved closer, it seemed to sense something was amiss. Mia glanced down at Leo, who was wide-eyed and trembling, instinctively huddling closer to her. "Stay quiet, Leo," she whispered, hoping to keep him calm. The adult bobcat sniffed the air, its gaze shifting from Mia to the small cub beside her. Mia's heart raced as she realized this was no ordinary encounter. The bobcat hesitated, its instincts sensing the presence of a human but drawn by the unmistakable scent of its offspring. The cub, too small to comprehend the danger, mewed softly in response to the adult's presence. "Mama!" Leo cried out, his voice breaking the tension in the air. The adult bobcat froze, its ears perked up as it recognized the sound of its lost cub. In that moment, the connection between them was undeniable. The adult bobcat rushed forward, and Mia's heart soared as she watched the reunion unfold. Leo leapt from Mia's arms, bounding toward his mother with every ounce of energy he could muster. The adult bobcat nuzzled Leo, their reunion filled with a mix of relief and joy. Mia felt tears welling in her eyes as she witnessed the bond between mother and cub, a love that transcended the fear and chaos of the night. The adult bobcat turned its gaze toward Mia, and for a fleeting moment, their eyes locked. Mia felt a wave of gratitude wash over her. She had played a small part in reuniting them, protecting Leo when he needed it most. But she also knew she was in the presence of a wild creature and she needed to respect their space. "Thank you for trusting me," Mia whispered, her voice barely above a breath. The adult bobcat seemed to understand. With one last nuzzle to Leo, it turned and began to lead him back into the depths of the forest. Leo hesitated for a moment, looking back at Mia, his little face filled with uncertainty. "Go on, Leo," Mia encouraged softly. "Your mom is here. She'll keep you safe." The cub took a few tentative steps toward his mother, who waited patiently for him to catch up. As they disappeared into the underbrush, Mia felt a mix of happiness and sadness wash over her. She knew it was time to return home, but the experience had changed her. The bond she had formed with Leo, even in such a short time, was something she would carry with her forever. As she made her way back through the woods, she couldn't shake the image of the bobcat family from her mind. The journey home felt different. The shadows of the forest no longer seemed daunting. Instead, they were filled with life and stories waiting to be told. Mia looked up at the stars twinkling above, feeling a sense of peace wash over her. She knew she would always remember the lost cub and the adventure that had brought them together. When she finally emerged from the woods, the familiar sounds of her neighborhood greeted her. The distant barking of dogs and the laughter of children playing outside brought a smile to her face. She had been worried about Leo, but now she felt a sense of fulfillment. As she stepped into her home, Mia's mother greeted her with a concerned look. "Mia, we were worried sick. Where have you been?" "I'm sorry, Mum," Mia replied, her voice filled with excitement. "You won't believe what happened. I found a bobcat cub in the woods. He was lost." Her mother raised an eyebrow, a mix of disbelief and concern crossing her face. "A bobcat cub? Are you sure it was safe?" Mia nodded emphatically. "Yes. I helped him find his mother. They were reunited and it was the most beautiful thing I've ever seen." Her mother's expression softened as she listened to Mia's story, and she knelt down to hug her tightly. "I'm glad you're safe, sweetheart. But please be careful next time." "I will, Mom. I promise." Mia smiled, warmth filling her heart as she recounted the adventure. But deep down she knew there was more to the story. The bond she had formed with Leo, the connection that transcended the wild in the world of humans. That night, As she lay in bed, Mia replayed the events in her mind. She felt a sense of purpose awakening within her. Perhaps she could do more to help animals in need, to share their stories with the world. The adventure with Leo was just the beginning. With dreams of bobcats and moonlit forests dancing in her head, Mia drifted off to sleep, knowing that the spirit of the wild would always be a part of her. The following morning, sunlight streamed through Mia's bedroom window, casting warm rays across her face. She awoke with a smile, her heart still fluttering from the night's adventure. The image of Leo and his mother, reunited under the moonlit sky, played vividly in her mind. It was a moment that had changed her, igniting a passion she hadn't known existed. After breakfast, Mia sat at the kitchen table, her mind racing with ideas. She wanted to do something meaningful, something that could help animals like Leo. As she sipped her orange juice, she turned to her mother, who was cleaning up the dishes. "Mum, can I start a project? Something to help animals?" Her mother paused, turning to Mia with a curious expression. "What kind of project do you have in mind?" "I want to create a wildlife rescue group. We could help animals that are lost or injured and educate people about how to protect them." Mia's eyes sparkled with excitement as she spoke, her words pouring out like a waterfall. Her mother considered this for a moment, a thoughtful look crossing her face. "That sounds like a wonderful idea, Mia, but starting a rescue group is a big responsibility. You'll need to do a lot of research and planning." "I know. I can start small," Mia replied, her enthusiasm unwavering. "Maybe I can organize a community event to raise awareness about local wildlife. We could invite a ranger to speak and I could share my story about Leo." Her mother nodded, clearly impressed. "That sounds like a great start, sweetie. I can help you with the planning and logistics. Together, we can make it happen." Mia's heart soared at the thought of having her mother's support. With a renewed sense of purpose, she spent the day brainstorming ideas, jotting down notes, and gathering information on local wildlife. She researched the animals that inhabited the nearby forests, learned about their habitats, and discovered ways to educate her community about coexisting with nature. As the days turned into weeks, Mia poured her heart and soul into her project. She designed flyers, arranged for a local ranger to speak at the event, and reached out to friends and neighbors to spread the word. The excitement in her small town grew as more people became interested in attending the wildlife rescue event. Finally, the day of the event arrived. Mia stood in the park, her heart pounding with a mixture of nerves and excitement. Colorful banners hung from trees, and tables filled with educational materials were set up around the grassy area. Children played nearby, their laughter mingling with the sounds of nature. Mia glanced around, taking in the scene. She spotted her friends helping to set up, while her mother greeted attendees at the entrance. The sun shone brightly overhead, and the atmosphere buzzed with a sense of community spirit. As the time for the event approached, Mia took a deep breath, reminding herself of the purpose behind it all. She wanted to inspire others to care for wildlife, just as she had done for Leo. When the ranger arrived, Mia introduced him to the crowd, her voice steady and clear. "Thank you all for being here today. My name is Mia, and I'm so excited to share my love for wildlife with you. I want to tell you about a special bobcat cub I found a few weeks ago, a cub who reminded me of the importance of helping animals in need." As she shared her story, Mia felt a sense of connection with her audience. They leaned in, captivated by her words, and she could see their eyes widen with empathy and understanding. She spoke about Leo's adventure, the bond they had formed, and the joy of reuniting him with his mother. The ranger took over after Mia, sharing valuable information about local wildlife, how to identify animals in distress, and the importance of preserving their habitats. The crowd listened intently, asking questions and engaging with the ranger. The event turned out to be a tremendous success. Families walked away with knowledge and resources, inspired to take action in their own backyards. Mia felt a sense of fulfillment wash over her as she watched people connect with nature and each other, united by a common cause. As the sun began to set, casting a warm glow over the park, Mia looked around and felt a wave of gratitude. She had turned her experience with Leo into something bigger, a platform for awareness and education. After the event, as people began to disperse, Mia spotted a familiar figure standing at the edge of the park. It was her father who had come to support her. He beamed with pride as he approached her. "You did an amazing job today, Mia. I'm so proud of you." "Thanks, Dad. It was so much fun," she replied, her heart swelling with happiness. "I think we really made a difference." Her father nodded, a thoughtful expression crossing his face. "You know, Mia, this is just the beginning. You have the power to create change, to inspire others. Keep that passion alive." Mia smiled, feeling a sense of purpose growing within her. She knew that this was only the start of her journey in wildlife conservation. She was determined to continue advocating for animals, just like Leo, and to share their stories with the world. As they walked home together, Mia's thoughts drifted back to the forest and the bond she had formed with the little bobcat cub. She knew there were countless more stories waiting to be told, stories of connection, love, and resilience. That night, as Mia lay in bed, she felt a sense of peace. She realized that her adventure with Leo had not only changed him, but had also transformed her life, igniting a passion that would guide her for years to come. She closed her eyes, dreaming of new adventures in the wild, where every paw print told a story and every creature had a voice. With the stars twinkling outside her window, Mia drifted off, ready to embrace whatever the future had in store. The weeks following the wildlife rescue event were filled with excitement and purpose for Mia. Inspired by the overwhelming response from her community, she began organizing regular meetings and activities focused on wildlife conservation. She created a small group called Pawprints Forever, inviting friends and family to join her in her mission to protect and educate others about local wildlife. One sunny Saturday, Mia and her friends set out for a nature walk in the nearby woods. Armed with notebooks and cameras, they planned to document the wildlife they encountered and learn more about their habitats. The air was crisp, and the trees danced gently in the breeze as they ventured deeper into the forest. "Look over there," Mia exclaimed, pointing to a tree where a family of squirrels was chattering excitedly. The group gathered around, their eyes wide with wonder. They watched as the mother squirrel scurried up the trunk, carrying acorns for her young ones nestled in a cozy nook. "Nature is amazing," one of Mia's friends, Emma, said, snapping pictures. "I can't believe we have all this right in our backyard." As they continued their walk, they stumbled upon a small clearing where a beautiful stream trickled through the rocks. The sunlight sparkled on the water's surface, creating a magical atmosphere. Mia felt a surge of joy as she listened to the soothing sounds of nature. Suddenly, the serenity was interrupted by a distant cry. It was faint at first, but as they listened closely, the sound grew clearer, a desperate, haunting call. "What was that?" Emma asked, her eyes wide with concern. "I'm not sure," Mia replied, her instincts kicking in. "It sounds like an animal in distress." Without hesitation, Mia led the group toward the sound. They navigated through the underbrush, hearts pounding with anticipation. As they approached, the cries became more pronounced, a mixture of fear and vulnerability. Finally, they reached a small thicket where the cries were coming from. Mia pushed aside the branches to peer inside, and her heart sank. There, tangled in the brambles, was a young fawn struggling to break free. Its large, doe-like eyes were filled with panic, and Mia felt a rush of empathy for the frightened creature. "Oh no, we have to help it," she exclaimed, stepping forward. "Wait," Emma cautioned. "What if it's hurt? We should be careful." Mia nodded, taking a moment to assess the situation. The fawn was clearly frightened, but it didn't appear to be injured. It thrashed about, trying to escape the thorns that held it captive. "We can't just leave it here," Mia said firmly. "It needs our help." With determination, Mia carefully approached the fawn, speaking softly to calm it down. "It's okay, little one. We're here to help you." The fawn paused, its eyes locking onto hers, and for a brief moment they shared a connection. Mia knelt down, assessing the best way to free the fawn without causing it more distress. "Emma, can you help me? We need to gently hold it while we get it untangled." With Emma by her side, Mia reached out to the fawn, slowly wrapping her arms around its slender body. The fawn trembled but didn't resist, sensing the kindness in Mia's touch. Together, they carefully worked to untangle the thorns, being mindful of the fawn's delicate skin and fragile spirit. After what felt like an eternity, they finally freed the fawn from the brambles. It stood still for a moment, shaking off the remnants of its ordeal, and then took a cautious step away from Mia and Emma. The young creature looked back at them, its expression a mix of gratitude and wariness. "Goodbye, little one," Mia whispered, watching as the fawn bounded away into the safety of the trees, its white spots glistening in the dappled sunlight. "That was incredible," Emma exclaimed, her eyes shining with excitement. "You saved it." Mia felt a rush of pride and joy. "We did it together. This is why we have to keep raising awareness about wildlife. They need our help, just like this little fawn did." As they continued their walk, the group buzzed with excitement over their unexpected adventure. Each step felt lighter, fueled by the thrill of making a difference. They discussed plans for future events, including workshops on how to safely assist injured wildlife. Later that evening, as Mia sat down to dinner with her family, she couldn't contain her excitement. "We found a fawn today. It was stuck in the thorns and we helped it get free." Her parents exchanged glances, clearly impressed. "That's amazing, Mia," her father said, a proud smile spreading across his face. "You're really making a difference in your community." "Thanks, Dad. I just wish we could do more," Mia replied, her mind racing with ideas. After dinner, she headed to her room, her heart still racing from the day's events. She opened her laptop and began to research local wildlife rescue organizations. She wanted to learn more about what they did, how they operated, and how she could support their efforts. As she delved into her research, Mia discovered a wildlife rescue center not far from her town. They specialized in rehabilitating injured animals and releasing them back into the wild. A spark ignited within her, a thought that perhaps she could volunteer at the center and gain hands-on experience in wildlife care. Excited by the prospect, Mia quickly drafted an email expressing her interest in volunteering. She shared her passion for animals and her recent experiences, including the rescue of the fawn. After hitting send, she felt a wave of anticipation wash over her. Over the next few days, Mia kept herself busy, planning the next Pawprints Forever meeting and eagerly awaiting a response from the Wildlife Rescue Center. She wanted to be prepared for whatever opportunity came her way, knowing that every small effort counted in the grand tapestry of wildlife conservation. When the email finally arrived, Mia could hardly contain her excitement. The center welcomed her application and invited her for an interview. They were impressed by her initiative and commitment to helping wildlife, and she was thrilled at the prospect of working alongside professionals who shared her passion. As the date of the interview approached, Mia spent hours preparing. She researched the center's mission, learned about the animals they cared for, and even practiced answering potential questions. The night before the interview, she couldn't sleep, her mind racing with possibilities. "This could be the start of something amazing," she whispered to herself, her heart pounding with excitement and nerves. The next day, Mia arrived at the Wildlife Rescue Center, her heart racing with anticipation. The facility was nestled in a picturesque area surrounded by trees, with sounds of chirping birds and rustling leaves welcoming her. She took a deep breath, reminding herself of her purpose. As she stepped inside, she was greeted by a friendly staff member who led her through the facility. Mia's eyes widened as she encountered various animals: birds in rehabilitation, a young raccoon recovering from an injury, and even a couple of foxes peeking out from their enclosures. Each creature had a story, and Mia felt an overwhelming sense of connection. After the tour, Mia sat down for her interview with the head of the center, a kind woman named Sarah. They discussed her passion for wildlife and her recent projects, including the Pawprints Forever group. Sarah listened attentively, nodding with encouragement. "Mia, you have a wonderful spirit and a genuine love for animals," Sarah said, a warm smile on her face. "We'd love to have you volunteer with us. You'll gain valuable experience, and I can see you making a positive impact here." Mia's heart soared. "Thank you so much. I can't wait to start." As she left the center, Mia felt a newfound sense of purpose. She was on the brink of a new adventure, one that would deepen her connection to wildlife and expand her knowledge. The journey she had begun with Leo was leading her to so much more, and she was ready to embrace it all. That evening, as she sat down with her family for dinner, she shared the news with excitement. "I got the volunteer position at the Wildlife Rescue Center," her parents cheered, their faces filled with pride. "That's fantastic, Mia. You're truly making a difference," her mother said, her eyes shining. Mia beamed, her heart full of hope and determination. "I can't wait to start helping the animals. There's so much we can do." As the sun set and the stars began to twinkle in the sky, Mia felt as though she was stepping into a new chapter of her life. The journey ahead would challenge her and inspire her, and she was ready to face it with open arms, knowing that every pawprint she followed would lead her closer to her dreams. The morning of Mia's first day at the Wildlife Rescue Center arrived with a sense of anticipation. She could hardly contain her excitement as she put on her sturdy boots and a comfortable t-shirt adorned with a picture of a bobcat. As she looked in the mirror, she felt ready to embark on this new adventure, her heart pounding with both eagerness and nerves. After a quick breakfast, Mia's parents drove her to the center. The sun was shining brightly and the air was filled with the sounds of chirping birds and rustling leaves, a reminder of the beauty of nature that awaited her. As they approached the center, Mia's excitement grew. The building was nestled among tall trees, and colorful signs painted with animal silhouettes welcomed visitors. "Remember to take it all in, Mia," her father encouraged as they parked. "You're starting a wonderful journey." "I will, Dad. I can't wait to get started," Mia replied, her voice bubbling with enthusiasm. After a quick goodbye, Mia stepped inside the center, greeted by the familiar staff member from her interview, Sarah. "Welcome back, Mia. We're so glad you're here," she said, her warm smile instantly putting Mia at ease. "Thank you, I'm excited to be here," Mia replied, her heart racing with anticipation. Sarah led her through the facility, explaining the various areas dedicated to different animals. "This is our rehabilitation area, where we care for injured wildlife until they're ready to be released. Over here, we have our education center, where we teach the community about wildlife conservation." As they walked, Mia marveled at the animals they passed. She spotted a hawk perched in an enclosure, its sharp eyes watching them intently. Nearby, a raccoon was munching on some fruits, its little paws dexterously picking at the food. Each animal had a story, and Mia felt a deep sense of responsibility to learn and help them. After the tour, Sarah introduced Mia to the other staff and volunteers. They were a diverse group, united by their passion for wildlife. "Today you'll be helping with feeding the animals and cleaning their enclosures," Sarah explained. "It's important work, and it'll give you a chance to learn about their needs." Mia nodded eagerly, feeling a sense of purpose wash over her. "I'm ready." The first task was to prepare food for the raccoons. Mia watched as Sarah demonstrated the process, explaining the specific dietary needs of the animals. "Raccoons are omnivores," she said, "so we provide them with a balanced diet of fruits, vegetables, and protein sources." Mia was given the task of chopping fruits and mixing them with the other ingredients. As she worked, she felt a sense of fulfillment. "This is so cool," she said, glancing at Sarah. "I can't believe I'm actually helping." "You're doing great, Mia," Sarah encouraged. "It's important to remember that every little bit helps. These animals rely on us to keep them healthy and safe." After preparing the food, Mia and the other volunteers carried the meals to the raccoon enclosure. As they entered, the raccoons eagerly approached, sniffing the air and chirping with excitement. Mia couldn't help but smile as she watched them devour the food, their little paws moving quickly. "Look at them go!" she laughed, feeling an overwhelming sense of joy. "They're so cute." Once the raccoons were fed, it was time to clean their enclosure. Mia worked alongside the other volunteers, learning about the proper cleaning techniques to ensure the animal's environment was safe and hygienic. They scrubbed, swept, and replaced bedding, all while sharing stories of their own experiences with wildlife. As the morning flew by, Mia found herself completely immersed in the work. She felt a connection to the animals, understanding that her efforts were contributing to their recovery and rehabilitation. Each task was a lesson, and each animal had a unique story that fueled her passion. After lunch, Mia helped Sarah with a group of visitors who had come to learn about the center's work. The children were wide-eyed with wonder as Sarah introduced them to the animals and explained the importance of wildlife conservation. Mia assisted by sharing her story about Leo, the lost bobcat cub. "Animals like Leo need our help," she told the children, her voice filled with enthusiasm. "If we find them in trouble, we can make a difference." The children listened intently, their faces lighting up with excitement. Mia could see the spark of curiosity igniting in their eyes, and it fueled her belief in the importance of her work. She realized that sharing her experiences could inspire others to care for wildlife, just as she had been inspired. Throughout the day, Mia learned about different animals and their habitats. She helped care for birds, rabbits, and even a young deer, each encounter deepening her understanding of wildlife and the challenges they faced. With each task, her confidence grew. She felt like she was truly making a difference. As the day came to a close, Mia stood outside the center, taking a moment to reflect. The sun was beginning to set, casting a golden glow over the trees. She felt a sense of accomplishment wash over her, knowing she had contributed to the care of these beautiful creatures. "Mia," Sarah called, stepping outside with a smile. "You did an exceptional job today. We would love to have you back regularly." Mia's heart soared at the praise. "I'd love to come back. Thank you for this opportunity." As she headed home, Mia couldn't stop smiling. The day had been everything she had hoped for and more. She felt a sense of purpose and belonging, knowing she was part of something larger than herself. When she arrived home, her parents were waiting eagerly to hear about her day. "How was it?" her mother asked, her eyes sparkling with curiosity. "It was amazing," Mia exclaimed, her words spilling out in excitement. "I helped feed raccoons, cleaned their enclosure, and even talked to kids about wildlife. I feel like I'm really making a difference." Her parents exchanged proud glances and her father beamed. "We're so proud of you, Mia. You're following your passion and making an impact in your community." That night, as Mia lay in bed, she reflected on her experiences. She felt grateful for the chance to work with animals and educate others about the importance of wildlife conservation. The adventure with Leo had sparked a journey that was leading her to new discoveries and connections. As she drifted off to sleep, Mia's dreams were filled with images of bobcats, raccoons, and all the incredible creatures she had met. She knew this was just the beginning of her journey, and she was excited to see where it would take her next. The following weeks at the Wildlife Rescue Center were a whirlwind of activity for Mia. She quickly settled into her routine, volunteering several days a week. Each day brought new challenges and experiences that deepened her understanding of wildlife care. She learned how to administer medications, prepare specialized diets, and even assist in the rehabilitation of injured animals. One sunny afternoon, Mia was busy cleaning the enclosures of the birds of prey. She marveled at the majestic red-tailed hawk perched on a branch, its feathers gleaming in the sunlight. "You're such a beauty," she whispered, captivated by its fierce gaze. Suddenly, Sarah approached, her expression serious. "Mia, we need to talk. There's been an emergency situation." Mia's heart raced. "What happened?" "We received a call about an injured deer found on the side of the road. It seems to have a broken leg and we need to act quickly to help it," Sarah explained, urgency in her voice. "I'm going to need your assistance." "Of course, what can I do?" Mia replied, adrenaline coursing through her veins. "First, gather some supplies, a stretcher, bandages, and any other medical equipment you think we might need. We'll need to stabilize the deer before transporting it back here." Mia nodded, her heart pounding as she hurried to gather the necessary items. The thought of helping an injured animal filled her with determination. She knew that every second counted, and she was ready to do whatever it took. Once they had everything they needed, Mia and Sarah hopped into the center's van and drove toward the location where the deer had been spotted. As they traveled, Mia felt a mix of anxiety and excitement. This was her chance to make a real difference, to help an animal in need. When they arrived at the scene, Mia felt a pang of sadness at the sight of the injured deer lying on the ground. It was a young doe, her big eyes filled with fear and pain. Mia approached cautiously, mindful of the creature's distress. "Hey there, sweet girl," Mia murmured softly, trying to soothe the doe. "We're here to help you." Sarah got to work assessing the situation. "We need to make sure she doesn't try to get up," she instructed. "Mia, can you help me hold her steady while I examine her leg?" Mia nodded and moved closer, placing her hands on the doe's shoulders, gently applying pressure to keep her calm. The doe trembled but remained still as Sarah carefully examined the injured leg. "It's definitely broken," Sarah said, her brow furrowed with concern. "We'll need to stabilize it before we transport her back to the center. Mia, can you hand me the splint and bandages?" As they worked together, Mia felt a surge of purpose. She was doing something meaningful, something that would directly impact this animal's life. The doe began to relax under Mia's gentle touch, and they shared a moment of connection that filled Mia with hope. After stabilizing the leg, they carefully placed the doe onto the stretcher, ensuring she was comfortable and secure. "We're going to take good care of you," Mia whispered, her heart aching for the frightened creature. Once they had loaded the doe into the van, they drove back to the center. Mia's mind raced with thoughts of how she could help further. She wanted to learn everything she could about rehabilitation and recovery, and she was determined to see this through. Upon returning, they quickly transported the doe to the medical wing of the center. Sarah and another staff member, Mark, set to work, checking the deer's vitals and preparing her for treatment. Mia watched intently, absorbing every detail. "Can I help?" she asked, her voice filled with eagerness. "Absolutely," Mark replied with a smile. "You can assist me with the IV fluids. We need to keep her hydrated while we assess her injuries." Mia felt a rush of excitement as she donned gloves and prepared the fluids. It was a crucial step in the care of the injured doe, and she was thrilled to be part of the process. As they worked, Mia learned about the importance of monitoring the doe's condition and how to recognize signs of distress. Hours passed, and after stabilizing the doe, Sarah explained the next steps. "She'll need surgery to repair the broken leg, and then we'll monitor her recovery closely. Mia, you can help with her rehabilitation once she's stable. It will take time, but we'll do everything we can to help her recover." Mia nodded, determination lighting her eyes. "I'll be ready to help however I can." As the days went by, Mia continued to assist with the doe's care. She learned about the rehabilitation process, gathering information on how to create a safe and comfortable environment for the young deer. It was a labor of love, and she felt honored to be a part of the doe's recovery journey. During this time, Mia also spent time with other animals at the center, gaining a deeper understanding of their needs. She formed bonds with the staff and volunteers, each of them sharing their experiences and knowledge. One afternoon, while working with the young doe, Mia overheard Sarah discussing the possibility of releasing some rehabilitated animals back into the wild. "It's essential that we prepare them for survival out there," Sarah explained to the volunteers. "They need to learn how to forage for food and navigate their natural habitat." Mia's heart raced at the thought of witnessing an animal's release back into the wild. "Can I help with that?" she asked, her voice filled with excitement. "Of course, Mia. We'd love your help," Sarah replied. "It's a crucial part of the rehabilitation process, and having enthusiastic volunteers makes a difference." As the weeks passed, Mia dedicated herself to the doe's recovery, and each day brought new challenges and triumphs. The deer grew stronger, her spirit shining through as she slowly regained her strength. Mia spent hours in the enclosure talking to her, feeding her, and helping her learn to navigate her surroundings. Finally, the day came when Sarah announced they would be releasing the doe back into the wild. Mia's heart swelled with joy and pride. "I can't believe she's ready," she exclaimed. "Yes, she's made incredible progress, and we believe she can thrive on her own again," Sarah replied, her eyes sparkling with excitement. "We will be releasing her at the same spot where we found her." On the day of the release, Mia gathered alongside the staff and volunteers, each of them buzzing with anticipation. They transported the doe in a large crate, and as they arrived at the location, Mia felt a sense of hope wash over her. As they opened the crate, the doe hesitated for a moment, taking in her surroundings. Then, slowly, she stepped out, her legs steady and strong. The moment was breathtaking. "Go on, girl," Mia whispered, urging her on. "You can do this." With a final glance back at the humans who had cared for her, the doe bounded into the woods, disappearing among the trees. Mia felt tears of joy streaming down her cheeks, a mixture of happiness and relief flooding her heart. "She's free," Mia breathed, a smile spreading across her face. As the group cheered, Mia felt an overwhelming sense of connection to the wild, a deep understanding that she was part of something larger than herself. This experience had solidified her commitment to wildlife conservation, and as she stood there surrounded by her friends and mentors, she knew this was just the beginning of her journey. That night, as she lay in bed, her heart still racing from the day's events, Mia reflected on how far she had come. The journey with the lost bobcat cub had led her to this moment, a moment of triumph and connection to the wild. She felt grateful for the opportunities she had been given and was excited to continue her work with animals. As she drifted off to sleep, she dreamed of more adventures, of saving more animals in need, and of the bonds that could be formed between humans and wildlife. The future was bright, and Mia was ready to embrace it. Mia's dedication to wildlife conservation deepened with each passing day. The success of the doe's rehabilitation and release inspired her to work even harder at the Wildlife Rescue Center. She was eager to learn everything she could about animal care, and her enthusiasm was contagious. As summer rolled in, Mia spent most of her days at the center, helping with various animals and participating in community outreach programs. She organized school visits and educational workshops, sharing her passion for wildlife with young students. The joy of seeing children's eyes light up as they learned about animals filled Mia with purpose. However, as her responsibilities grew, so did her awareness of the challenges facing wildlife. One afternoon, while she was cleaning the enclosures, she overheard Sarah discussing a troubling issue with another staff member, Mark. "There's been an alarming increase in wildlife vehicle collisions lately," Sarah said, her brow furrowed with concern. "We've received multiple reports of injured animals being brought to the center because they've been hit on the roads." Mia's heart sank at the news. She had seen the consequences of such incidents firsthand with the young doe. "Is there anything we can do to help?" she asked, stepping closer. "We need to raise awareness in the community about the dangers of speeding and the importance of being vigilant while driving through animal habitats," Mark replied. "We also need to reach out to local authorities about placing more wildlife crossing signs in high-risk areas." Mia's mind raced with ideas. What if we organize a campaign? We could create flyers, host a community meeting, and educate drivers about the dangers to wildlife. Sarah looked at Mia, her expression brightening. "That's an excellent idea, Mia. We could use your enthusiasm to rally the community and get them involved." With Sarah's encouragement, Mia immediately set to work. She gathered her friends from Pawprints forever, and together they brainstormed ways to raise awareness about wildlife safety on the roads. They designed eye-catching flyers, created educational materials, and planned a community event to discuss the issue. As the day of the event approached, Mia felt a mix of excitement and nervousness. She wanted to make a significant impact and hoped to engage as many people as possible. On the day of the event, the park was filled with colorful banners and tables displaying information about local wildlife, road safety tips, and the importance of preserving natural habitats. Mia stood at a podium, her heart pounding as she addressed the crowd. "Thank you all for coming today. We're here to talk about an important issue that affects both wildlife and our community. Too many animals are getting hurt on our roads, and we need to work together to change that." The crowd listened intently as Mia shared statistics and stories about wildlife collisions. She recounted her experience with the young doe, emphasizing the need for awareness and action. As she spoke, she noticed nods of agreement and expressions of concern. After her speech, Mia opened the floor for questions. Several community members raised their hands, eager to learn more and discuss solutions. The atmosphere buzzed with enthusiasm as ideas flowed, and Mia felt a surge of hope. "Let's work together to create a safer environment for our wildlife," she encouraged, rallying the crowd to take action. The response was overwhelmingly positive, with many people expressing their willingness to help. As the event wrapped up, Mia felt a sense of accomplishment. They had sparked a conversation that could lead to real change, and she was proud of what they had achieved. In the following weeks, the community rallied behind the campaign. Local authorities agreed to install additional wildlife crossing signs, and volunteers organized a weekend cleanup to remove debris and hazards from roadways. Mia was buoyed by the support and saw firsthand how collective action could make a difference. However, amidst the excitement, another challenge loomed on the horizon. One day, while Mia was at the center, she overheard Sarah and Mark discussing a troubling situation regarding local wildlife habitats. "There's been a report of illegal dumping near the river," Sarah said, her voice filled with concern. "It could have devastating effects on the animals that rely on that habitat." Mia's heart dropped at the thought. "What can we do to help?" she asked, stepping forward. "We need to gather a team to investigate the situation," Mark replied. "We'll need to assess the area and report any issues to the local authorities. If there's hazardous waste, it could be dangerous for the wildlife." "I want to help," Mia said, determination fueling her voice. "I can organize a cleanup event and get the community involved." Sarah smiled, clearly impressed with Mia's initiative. "That's a great idea, Mia. We can work together to raise awareness about the importance of keeping our habitats clean and safe for wildlife." With a renewed sense of purpose, Mia set to work organizing the cleanup. She reached out to her friends in Pawprints Forever, local schools and community organizations, rallying support for the cause. Over the next few days, excitement built as more and more people committed to joining the effort. On the day of the cleanup, Mia stood at the riverbank, surrounded by volunteers eager to make a difference. The sun shone brightly, casting a warm glow over the group as they gathered to hear Mia speak. "Thank you all for being here today," Mia began, her voice ringing with enthusiasm. "We're here to protect our wildlife and their homes. Together we can make a real impact." The group cheered, and Mia felt a wave of motivation wash over her. They divided into teams, armed with gloves and garbage bags, ready to tackle the litter that threatened the river and its surrounding habitat. As they worked, Mia felt a sense of camaraderie with her fellow volunteers. They laughed and shared stories, united by their love for wildlife and the environment. Mia moved through the area, picking up trash and educating others about the importance of keeping habitats clean. After hours of hard work, the riverbank was transformed. The once litter-strewn area was now clean and inviting, a safe haven for wildlife to thrive. Mia stood back to admire their efforts, a sense of pride swelling in her chest. Once they finished, Mia gathered everyone together for a group photo, capturing the moment of their shared accomplishment. "Thank you all for your hard work. Today, we've made a difference for wildlife, and I couldn't have done it without you." As they celebrated their success, Mia felt a renewed sense of purpose. They had tackled a hidden danger together, and their efforts would have a lasting impact on the environment. But as the sun began to set, Mia's thoughts turned to the next challenge. With every victory came new obstacles, and she was determined to continue her mission. She knew that the journey of wildlife conservation was ongoing, and she was ready to face whatever came next. That night, as she lay in bed, Mia reflected on the day's accomplishments. She felt grateful for the community's support and the connections she had formed, but the reality of the ongoing threats to wildlife loomed in her mind, reminding her that there was still much work to be done. With a heart full of hope and determination, Mia drifted off to sleep, ready to face the challenges that lay ahead. As summer progressed, Mia's efforts in wildlife conservation continued to flourish. The cleanup event had sparked a wave of community involvement, and Mia felt a sense of fulfillment knowing she was making a positive impact. However, deep down, she knew that the challenges facing wildlife were far from over. One warm afternoon, while Mia was volunteering at the Wildlife Rescue Center, she received an unexpected call from Sarah. "Mia, we have a situation that needs your attention," Sarah said, her tone serious. "Can you come to the center right away?" Mia's heart raced as she quickly agreed. "I'll be there in 10 minutes. When she arrived, she found Sarah pacing in the lobby, her brow furrowed with concern. "We've just received a report about a possible illegal poaching incident near the forest. Some local hikers spotted suspicious activity and alerted us. We need to investigate and gather evidence to report to the authorities. Mia's stomach churned at the thought of poaching. What can I do to help? She asked, determination burning in her eyes. We need to head to the area where the activity was reported, Sarah replied. I want you to assist me in documenting any signs of poaching and interviewing the hikers who made the report. It's important that we gather as much information as possible. Together, they set out for the forest, Mia's mind racing with thoughts of the potential dangers facing the wildlife. As they arrived at the hiking trail, they met with the hikers who had reported the incident. They were an older couple, their faces etched with concern. We saw some men with guns, the woman explained, her voice trembling. They were acting suspiciously and seemed to be tracking something. We were really worried about the animals in the area. Mia listened intently, jotting down notes as the couple described the location and what they had witnessed. Thank you for bringing this to our attention, she said, her heart heavy with the thought of wildlife being harmed. We'll do everything we can to protect the animals. After speaking with the hikers, Mia and Sarah ventured deeper into the forest to investigate. The trees stood tall, their leaves rustling in the gentle breeze, but the peaceful surroundings felt ominous under the weight of their mission. As they walked, Sarah pointed out signs of possible poaching, broken branches, disturbed underbrush, and even discarded food wrappers that suggested someone had been camping in the area. Mia felt a sense of urgency. They needed to gather evidence to protect the wildlife. Look over there, Sarah said, motioning toward a small clearing. We need to check that area for any signs of traps or other equipment. As they approached the clearing, Mia felt a knot in her stomach. The reality of poaching hit her hard. This was a hidden danger that could devastate local wildlife populations, and she was determined to do something about it. Suddenly, Mia spotted something glinting in the sunlight. She knelt down to inspect it, her heart racing. Sarah, look, she called, pointing to a small metal trap partially hidden in the leaves. Sarah hurried over, her expression grave. This is what we feared. We need to document this and report it to the authorities immediately. These traps are illegal and pose a serious threat to wildlife. Mia pulled out her phone and began taking pictures of the trap, ensuring she captured every detail. What if we find more? She asked, anxiety creeping into her voice. Then we'll report every single one, Sarah reassured her. This is why we need to raise awareness about poaching and its consequences. We need the community to understand the importance of protecting our wildlife. As they continued their search, they found more traps hidden throughout the forest. Each one felt like a punch to Mia's gut, a stark reminder of the dangers wildlife faced at the hands of humans. She couldn't help but feel a sense of anger and sadness for the innocent animals that could fall victim to such cruelty. After documenting the traps, they returned to the center and compiled their evidence, preparing to report the situation to the local authorities. Mia felt a sense of purpose igniting within her. She knew that raising awareness about poaching was just as crucial as their efforts in rehabilitation and conservation. Once the authorities were alerted, Mia and Sarah discussed how they could further educate the community about the dangers of poaching. We need to organize an event focused on wildlife protection, Sarah suggested. We can invite local law enforcement to speak about the legal consequences of poaching and how the community can help safeguard wildlife. Mia's eyes lit up with excitement. Yes! We can also share information about local wildlife and the importance of preserving their habitats. We need to empower people to take action. Over the next few weeks, Mia poured her energy into planning the event. She reached out to local schools, community organizations, and even wildlife experts who could speak at the gathering. It became a collaborative effort, with everyone eager to contribute to the cause. On the day of the event, the community center was buzzing with activity. Colorful banners adorned the walls, and tables filled with educational materials lined the entrance. Mia felt a surge of excitement as she prepared to address the crowd. As the event began, Mia stood at the front, her heart racing with anticipation. Thank you all for coming today. We're here to discuss an important issue that affects our wildlife and our community: poaching. Together, we can make a difference. She shared the stories of the traps they had found, the impact of poaching on local wildlife, and the steps everyone could take to help. The audience listened intently, and Mia felt the energy in the room shift as people began to understand the seriousness of the issue. After her presentation, local law enforcement officers spoke about the legal ramifications of poaching and how the community could report suspicious activity. They emphasized the importance of being vigilant and proactive in protecting wildlife. As the event concluded, Mia felt a sense of accomplishment wash over her. The community had come together, united in their commitment to protect wildlife. She could see the passion in the faces of those who attended, and she knew they were ready to take action. In the weeks that followed, Mia noticed a shift in her community. More people were reporting suspicious activity, and the local authorities became more vigilant in monitoring the area for poaching. It was a small victory, but Mia knew it was just the beginning. As summer began to fade into autumn, Mia continued her work at the Wildlife Rescue Center, helping with the rehabilitation of animals and participating in community outreach programs. Each day brought new challenges, but she was ready to face them head-on. One crisp autumn afternoon, while Mia was organizing supplies in the center, she received an unexpected visit from a familiar face. Leo, the bobcat cub she had once rescued. He was now a young bobcat, his coat thick and vibrant, and he roamed the outskirts of the center, seemingly healthy and happy. Mia's heart swelled with joy as she watched him. "Leo!" she called out, excitement bubbling within her. He turned to her, his eyes bright and full of life. She could hardly believe the journey he had taken since they first met in the woods. As she stepped outside to greet him, Mia felt a profound connection to the wild, a reminder of why she had dedicated herself to wildlife conservation. Leo approached her cautiously, as if recognizing her as the one who had helped him find his mother. In that moment, Mia realized that her efforts were making a tangible difference in the lives of animals like Leo. She had come full circle, and the bond she had formed with the bobcat cub was a testament to the power of compassion and action. That night, as she lay in bed, Mia reflected on her journey. She felt grateful for the experiences that had shaped her, and for the community that had rallied behind her. The challenges ahead were daunting, but she was ready to face them with courage and determination. With dreams of bobcats and the beauty of the wild dancing in her mind, Mia drifted off to sleep, knowing that her mission was far from over. As autumn transitioned into winter, the air turned crisp and cool, and the landscape transformed into a serene wonderland of frosty trees and glistening snow. Mia continued her work at the Wildlife Rescue Center, but the cold season brought new challenges for both the animals and the staff. Winter was a time of hardship for many wildlife species, and Mia felt a renewed sense of urgency to help them. One chilly morning, as Mia arrived at the center, she noticed the staff huddled together, discussing something with concerned expressions. She approached Sarah, her curiosity piqued. "What's going on?" "We've received reports of several wildlife sightings closer to residential areas," Sarah explained, her tone serious. "Animals like deer and raccoons are venturing into neighborhoods in search of food. It's a sign that their natural food sources are scarce due to the harsh winter conditions." Mia's heart sank at the thought of the animals struggling to survive. "Is there anything we can do to help?" she asked, eager to take action. "We need to educate the community about how to coexist with wildlife during this time," Sarah replied. "We can organize a campaign to encourage people not to feed wild animals, as it can lead to dangerous situations and unhealthy dependencies. We also need to remind them to secure their trash and avoid leaving food outside." "I can help with that," Mia exclaimed, ready to take on the challenge. "We can create flyers, host community meetings, and even set up feeding stations for wildlife in safe areas." With Sarah's support, Mia set to work organizing the campaign. She reached out to local schools and community organizations, enlisting their help in spreading the message. Together, they created informative flyers that highlighted the importance of responsible behavior toward wildlife during winter. As the campaign gained momentum, Mia also worked on setting up feeding stations in designated areas. She researched the dietary needs of local wildlife, ensuring that they would have access to safe and nutritious food sources without becoming dependent on human intervention. One snowy Saturday, Mia and a group of volunteers gathered to fill the feeding stations with hay, grains, and fruits. They placed the stations in secluded areas away from residential neighborhoods, hoping to provide sustenance to the animals while keeping them safe from human contact. As they worked, Mia felt a sense of fulfillment. She knew that every effort counted, especially during the harsh winter months when survival became a struggle for many creatures. The camaraderie among the volunteers warmed her heart, and they shared laughter and stories as they labored together. However, as the weeks passed, Mia received some troubling news. Several wildlife rescue centers in the region had reported an increase in accidents involving wildlife collisions on the roads. The community campaign was making a difference, but there was still much work to be done. One evening, as Mia was reviewing the reports, she felt a surge of determination. "We need to do more," she said to Sarah during their weekly meeting. "We should organize a wildlife safety awareness day. We can invite local law enforcement, wildlife experts, and community members to discuss the dangers of wildlife collisions and how to prevent them." Sarah nodded, clearly impressed with Mia's initiative. "That's an excellent idea. We can combine it with our ongoing winter campaign and create a comprehensive event that addresses multiple concerns." With renewed energy, Mia began planning the Wildlife Safety Awareness Day. She reached out to local experts, secured speakers, and organized activities for families. The event would educate attendees about safe driving practices, the importance of wildlife conservation, and how to coexist with animals during the winter months. On the day of the event, the community center was bustling with activity. Banners hung from the walls and tables were set up with information about local wildlife, driving safety tips and ways to help animals during the winter. Mia's heart swelled with pride as she watched families arrive, eager to learn and engage. As the event began, Mia took the stage, addressing the crowd. "Thank you all for being here today. We're here to talk about the challenges our wildlife face during the winter months and how we can all play a part in protecting them." She shared stories of local wildlife encounters and the importance of being vigilant while driving in areas where animals might cross. The audience listened intently, and Mia could feel their engagement growing as she spoke passionately about the issue. After her presentation, local law enforcement officers took the stage to discuss the legal consequences of wildlife collisions and the importance of reporting any incidents. They shared statistics and stories of how community members could help protect wildlife. As the day progressed, families participated in interactive activities, including a driving simulation that educated participants on the dangers of speeding in wildlife areas. Mia felt a sense of exhilaration as she watched the community come together, united in their commitment to wildlife conservation. As the event concluded, Mia felt a deep sense of satisfaction. They had successfully raised awareness, educated the community, and fostered a sense of responsibility toward wildlife. The response was overwhelmingly positive, and many attendees expressed their gratitude for the information shared. However, as winter continued, Mia knew that the challenges facing wildlife were far from over. The cold weather brought additional hardships, and she was determined to keep the momentum going. One frigid afternoon, as Mia was preparing for another volunteer shift at the center, she received a call from Sarah. "Mia, we have a situation that needs your expertise," she said, her tone serious. "We've received reports of a family of raccoons trapped in an abandoned shed. They're in desperate need of help." Mia's heart raced at the thought of the raccoons. "I'll be there right away," she replied, ready to take action. When she arrived at the location, Mia found Sarah and a small team of volunteers assessing the situation. The shed was old and dilapidated, with broken windows and debris scattered around. The raccoons were trapped inside, their frightened eyes peering out from the darkness. "We need to get them out of there safely," Sarah said, her voice steady. "Mia, can you help me set up a safe trap to lure them out?" Mia nodded, her determination unwavering. Together they set up a humane trap with food inside, hoping to entice the raccoons to come out. As they worked, Mia felt a surge of compassion for the frightened animals. She knew how important it was to approach the situation carefully. After setting the trap, they waited quietly, watching the shed. Minutes felt like hours as they remained vigilant, hoping to see the raccoons venture out. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, They heard rustling sounds from inside. "Look," Mia whispered, her heart racing as the first raccoon cautiously emerged from the shed. It sniffed the air, its eyes darting around nervously. Slowly, it approached the trap, drawn by the scent of food. Mia held her breath, hoping it would enter the trap. Just as the raccoon began to investigate, the door of the shed creaked open wider, revealing 2 more raccoons peering out. Mia felt a rush of hope. They were a family, and they needed to stick together. With careful movements, she watched as the first raccoon stepped inside the trap, nibbling on the food. The door closed behind it with a soft click, and Mia felt a sense of triumph. "We did it!" she exclaimed, her excitement bubbling over. As they successfully trapped the first raccoon, the other 2 were hesitant, but soon followed suit, drawn in by the food. Within moments, they were all safe in the trap, and Mia felt a wave of relief wash over her. "Great job, Mia," Sarah praised, her eyes shining with pride. "Now we can take them back to the center and assess their condition." As they transported the raccoons back, Mia felt a sense of fulfillment. She had learned so much and gained valuable experience in wildlife rescue. The bond she had formed with these animals reminded her of why she dedicated herself to conservation. At the center, they carefully examined the raccoons, ensuring they were healthy and unharmed. Mia felt a surge of joy as they confirmed that the family was safe and ready for rehabilitation. As she watched the raccoons settle into their new temporary home, Mia felt a deep sense of purpose. She knew that her journey in wildlife conservation was ongoing, and each animal she helped brought her closer to her goal of protecting wildlife. That night, as she lay in bed, Mia reflected on the day's events. She felt grateful for the opportunity to help the raccoons and for the support of her community. The challenges of winter were far from over, but she was ready to face them head-on. With dreams of raccoons and the beauty of the wild dancing in her mind, Mia drifted off to sleep, knowing that she was making a difference, one paw print at a time. Winter continued to blanket the landscape in its icy grip, but Mia's resolve to help wildlife remained unwavering. The raccoons she had rescued were recovering well under the care of the Wildlife Rescue Center, and Mia felt a deep sense of satisfaction, knowing that she had played a part in their rehabilitation. With each passing day, she became more adept at handling various animals and learning about their needs. She often spent hours in the center, assisting staff with everything from feeding to cleaning, and even helping prepare educational materials for community outreach. One particularly snowy morning, Mia received a call from Sarah. "Mia, we need your help again. We have a situation involving an injured bird that was found on a nearby road. Can you come to the center right away?" "Of course. I'll be there in 10 minutes, Mia replied, her heart racing with excitement and concern. When she arrived, Sarah and another staff member, Mark, were preparing to treat a juvenile red-tailed hawk. The bird had suffered a wing injury and appeared weak and frightened in its enclosure. "We think it may have been hit by a car," Sarah explained, her tone serious. "We need to assess the extent of the injury and determine the best course of action." Mia felt a surge of compassion for the hawk. She had always admired these majestic birds, and seeing one in distress tugged at her heart. "What can I do to help?" she asked eagerly. "Can you assist me with the examination?" Sarah replied, grateful for Mia's enthusiasm. "We'll need to gently restrain the hawk while we check its wing." With careful movements, Mia and Sarah approached the hawk, ensuring they remained calm and quiet. They gently wrapped the bird in a towel to keep it secure while Sarah examined its injured wing. Mia watched intently, absorbing every detail of the process. After a thorough examination, Sarah sighed. "It looks like the wing is fractured, but it's not severe. We can treat it, but it will require careful monitoring during the healing process." Mia felt a wave of relief wash over her. "What do we need to do?" she asked, ready to assist. "We'll need to create a splint for the wing to immobilize it while it heals," Sarah explained. "Mia, can you help me gather the supplies?" Together they gathered bandages, splints, and other necessary materials. Mia's heart raced with anticipation as they prepared to help the hawk. She felt a deep sense of responsibility, knowing that their actions would directly impact the bird's recovery. Once they had everything ready, Sarah carefully applied the splint to the hawk's wing, ensuring it was secure but not too tight. "Great job, Mia," she praised as they finished. "Now we'll need to keep it in a quiet area to reduce stress while it begins to heal." Mia helped set up a comfortable enclosure for the hawk, ensuring it had a safe space to rest. As they worked, she felt a sense of connection to the bird. She knew that every effort they made was a step toward giving it a second chance at life. Over the next few weeks, Mia dedicated herself to the hawk's rehabilitation. She visited the center daily, monitoring its progress and helping with feeding. The hawk gradually grew stronger, and Mia felt an overwhelming sense of pride as she witnessed its resilience. One crisp morning, as Mia arrived at the center, she noticed a flurry of activity. Staff members were bustling around, preparing for an important meeting. Sarah approached her with a serious expression. "Mia, we need to discuss something crucial. There's been an increase in poaching incidents in our area, and we can't ignore it any longer." Mia's heart sank at the news. "What can we do?" she asked, her voice filled with urgency. "We need to take action and raise awareness about poaching once again," Sarah replied. "We can't let this continue without doing everything we can to protect the wildlife." Mia felt a surge of determination. "Let's organize a community forum. We can invite local authorities, wildlife experts, and community members to discuss the impact of poaching and how we can work together to combat it." With Sarah's support, Mia quickly set to work organizing the forum. She reached out to local law enforcement and wildlife organizations, gathering speakers who could share their insights and experiences. The goal was to educate the community about the seriousness of poaching and empower them to take action. As the date of the forum approached, Mia felt a mix of excitement and anxiety. She knew that raising awareness was essential, but she also understood the gravity of the situation. The stakes were high, and she wanted to ensure the event was impactful. On the day of the forum, the community center was filled with concerned citizens, local officials, and wildlife advocates. Mia stood at the front, her heart pounding as she prepared to address the crowd. "Thank you all for being here today," she began, her voice steady. "We're here to discuss an urgent issue that affects our wildlife and our community, poaching. Together, we can make a difference." As she spoke passionately about the impact of poaching on local wildlife, Mia could see the audience's engagement growing. She shared stories of animals that had suffered due to illegal hunting, emphasizing the need for collective action to protect their natural habitats. After her presentation, local law enforcement officers took the stage, sharing statistics and personal accounts of their experiences with poaching. They emphasized the importance of community vigilance in reporting suspicious activity. As the forum progressed, Mia felt a sense of hope wash over her. The community was rallying together, united in their commitment to protect wildlife. People began to ask questions, share their concerns, and brainstorm solutions. In the following weeks, the community responded with enthusiasm. They organized neighborhood watch programs to monitor wildlife areas and raised funds to support local wildlife rescue efforts. Mia felt a sense of pride knowing that their collective actions were making a difference. As winter continued, Mia remained focused on her work at the Wildlife Rescue Center. The hawk was healing well, and she eagerly anticipated the day it would be ready for release. She had developed a close bond with the bird, and she hoped to witness its return to the wild. One chilly morning as Mia arrived at the center, she found Sarah waiting for her with an excited expression. "Mia, the hawk is ready for release." Mia's heart soared at the news. "Really? That's amazing." "We've monitored its recovery closely, and it's strong enough to thrive on its own now," Sarah explained. "We're planning the release today, and I'd love for you to be there." "Of course, I wouldn't miss it for the world," Mia replied, her excitement bubbling over. Later that day, Mia, Sarah, and the other staff gathered at the location where the hawk would be released, a beautiful open area surrounded by trees and rolling hills. It was the perfect spot for the bird to spread its wings and soar into the sky. As they prepared for the release, Mia felt a mix of emotions. She was overjoyed to see the hawk return to its natural habitat, but she also felt a pang of sadness at saying goodbye. This bird had become a part of her journey, and she had grown to care deeply for it. With the sun shining brightly overhead, Sarah opened the crate, allowing the hawk to step out. The bird hesitated for a moment, taking in its surroundings. Then, with a powerful flap of its wings, it took flight, soaring into the sky. Mia watched in awe as the hawk glided gracefully above the trees, its wings outstretched against the bright blue sky. She felt tears of joy streaming down her cheeks, a sense of fulfillment washing over her. This was what conservation was all about, restoring life and giving animals a second chance. As the hawk disappeared into the horizon, Mia knew that her journey in wildlife conservation was far from over. With every animal she saved and every community member she inspired, she felt a renewed sense of purpose. She had found her calling, and she was determined to continue advocating for wildlife and protecting their habitats. That night, as she lay in bed, Mia reflected on the past few months. The challenges of winter had brought new opportunities for growth, and she felt grateful for the support of her community, the staff at the rescue center, and the animals she had helped. With dreams of hawks and hope for the future dancing in her mind, Mia drifted off to sleep, ready to embrace whatever challenges lay ahead in her mission to protect wildlife, one pawprint at a time. As Mia releases a rehabilitated hawk back into the wild, she reflects on her journey and the victories she's achieved alongside her community. But this is just the beginning of her mission to protect wildlife. Join us as we continue to explore the challenges and triumphs in the world of conservation. If you enjoyed Mia's story, please subscribe to Pawprints Forever, like this video, and share it with others who care about wildlife. We want to hear from you. Let us know where you're watching from in the comments below, and together, let's make a difference for our furry friends and their habitats.